guys. Well, welcome everyone to the Vibrant Living Expo and Culinary Showcase here at the Living Light Center in Fort Bragg, California. My name is David Ross, and before I introduce our next speaker, I need to make a few announcements. There's still time to take advantage of the Vibrant Living Consultation Room, so you can speak one-on-one with your favorite mentor. If you're interested in having a private or group consultation with one of our speakers, please check with them at their booth or when you see them after their talk. We want to remind you as well to please keep the restrooms tidy, be conscientious, and don't overstuff the toilets with you-know-what. There will be book signings scheduled with each speaker following their talks at the author's table next to the marketplace. So follow the speaker downstairs if you want books signed.
Where? Downstairs.
And now I have the privilege of introducing Patricia Cramer. Patricia Cramer is founder and co-director of the World School of Massage and Holistic Healing Arts in both San Francisco and Pleasanton, California. She founded the school nearly 30 years ago and brings her talents in vibrational healing, massage therapy, and integrated body self-care to all of her workshops. Her focus, healthy, alive, feet, legs, and hips, new ways to stand and walk, and positive, conscious ways of speaking to yourself to create vibrant health. Who wants more of all that? And parenthetically, Patricia Cramer is one of the most committed people you'll ever find to supporting people in their health and wellness. And she also is one of the most knowledgeable practitioners in the field of foot care that you'll ever meet in your entire life. You did not just walk into another workshop here. This is very, very special. So let's give a rousing hand to Patricia Cramer.
Thank you. So I know some of you have already been chanting happy feet. So how many of you can actually, or would love to actually say on a daily basis, I have healthy, happy feet? Yeah. Okay, great. And how many of you have had back problems or foot problems or leg problems, and that has not been so? Thank you. Thanks for sharing. So that was me too. I had feet that were very deformed, and I had bunions and corns and hammer toes and flat fallen arches, you know, those things where the feet pronate in. I had all that stuff. And I don't have before pictures of me. I'm so sorry. But when David got to meet, David who introduced you, David Ross, he saw my practitioner who over 25 years ago first worked on my feet. And she told him, yes, she had terrible feet. So now, and I made a goal back then, and I want you all to see what you want out of today, just out of this 40-some minutes we have here together. I made a goal back then that I would have beautiful feet. And how I would know that is that people would come up to me and say, wow, you have very beautiful feet. That even strangers would tell me that I had beautiful feet. So it happens on the beach, it happens everywhere. The people tell me, what? Well, feet, right. So what do you want to have today out of this workshop? Happy, beautiful feet. Or healthy feet or happy, beautiful feet. Awesome, thank you. So, yeah, I founded this work and developed it with a man named Harvey Lampel. I call him the famous one and only Harvey Lampel. And he gave me this work after I helped him develop it, and he actually died last year. So I dedicate today to Harvey Lampel, and I love Harvey Lampel. Harvey died. Nobody knew how old he was, but he died taking care of his mother in Florida just last year. So I'm touched by that. But he gave me this work about 16 years ago after I helped him put it together, and he said, it's yours, girl. You put it through your school and give it to the world. So that's what we're doing. So today you're going to learn a very simple self-protocol that we call foot freedom. Everybody say what? Foot freedom. Okay. And I don't have a protocol in writing to give to you, so I'm going to pass around a clipboard. And for those of you watching video or watching stream on video online, you can actually call the school too, and I'll tell the number at the end. But if you know that you'd like what I'm going to say in writing, and also would include a picture of the foot like this that I can email you, you can put your name and your email on here. Okay, is everybody clear? So this is for if you want just to get a copy of the things I'm going to tell you. Online, okay? Or mailing if you want to, put your mailing address. Also, there's a training DVD that's almost done. I'm one of the ones that didn't get it done before today. It's a 2-hour training video going into the total, all the exacts of everything you do for like a 2-hour foot treatment or something you can learn and then do 5-minute versions of it for yourself. And that DVD will be done shortly, and I'm going to offer it today for $30 for people here at the Expo or people watching on streaming online. All right? Is that clear? So there's also a column. If you want a DVD, if you want to pay for it today, you can pay for it afterwards downstairs, or if you just want to order it or put your name on the list for receiving one later. So there's a column for the DVD. There's a column for today's handout. All right? So I'll start this around. You guys can be responsible that you get that. All right? Okay, so we're first going to start out because when in a holistic sense, we don't just work with the feet. In a holistic sense, we're working with the whole body. How many of you found yourself sometimes uncentered or ungrounded in stressful situations? How many of you found yourself, you're so spiritual that sometimes you're not even in your body, or that when some stress or overwhelm comes up, you actually leave your body? Know what I'm saying? So this is going to help you in those times. How I manage those kinds of things is that I work on my feet 2 or 3 times a day. What I'm going to teach you, I do when I wake up in the morning for just a couple minutes. I do it in the shower for a couple minutes. In fact, I love doing that yogi thing and standing there working on my feet in the shower. And look at me, I broke this leg last year, and I can stand on it again. And I also do it before I go to sleep. It really helps for sleep. So what you're going to learn, you might just do a couple minutes now and then. You don't have to do the whole, 40, 50 minutes, a whole hour session. But you might want to. If you know that you've had difficulty with your feet or legs or hips or back, you might want to work once a week or so about an hour on your feet, or half an hour here and there, and that kind of thing. Okay, also online on our website, which I can tell you at the end, there is a whole protocol for foot baths and how to give yourself great foot baths, because what I'm going to teach you goes very well with after you having soaked your feet in hot water and herbs and salts and things like that. So there's all kinds of foot bath information on the website. All right? So what we're going to do first is we're going to just take a look at the whole structure. So what I want you to do is just sit back in your chair and do what we used to call comfortable, or what we call just being comfortable. Now, where is your weight? Somebody holler out where your weight is right now when you're sitting back in a comfortable chair. It's in your butt. It's in your back and your butt. Now, that is cutting off the nerves and actually putting weight and cutting off the very nerves and circulation to what? To your legs and feet and knees and ankles and hips. It's actually detrimental to sit back and be what we call comfortable. So when people are waking up their bodies and becoming more holistic, they learn to sit up straight, but not up straight back in the chair, but now sit up forward in your chair. You might have to scoot up a few inches and put some of that so-called weight into your feet. So some of you might have both feet out. You might have 1 foot forward and 1 foot back. I like having 1 foot more forward than the other, so it's about like this. Now notice where your weight is. Actually, consciously put some weight into your feet. So there's some weight in your feet and some weight in your sits bones. You want to be sitting on what are called the sits bones in your behind back there, in your backside. So you should be, Sue, may I touch you? So you should be such that you have a little bit of weight coming out in your legs and a little bit on your sits bones so that your spine does what? It flexes and hangs. It hangs there because the weight now is being distributed through a center of gravity that's now not in your butt but is more down between your thighs. You feel that? How many raise your hand? You get that? Is there anybody that needs a little more coaching on that? Okay. So you want to sit up a little from the back of your chair and engage your weight, not only on your sits bones, so sit in your sits bones, but engage your weight a little forward so you can lean forward. If you're at your desk, you could reach for your phone easier. So you have more fluidity from your hip sockets. You guys, I think they're getting it now. Anybody still need a little more? You want from your hip sockets to be able to move more in that sitting place. I can't demonstrate sitting too well here because you wouldn't see me. So good. I see a lot of movement. This is what you want, because when you're doing movement like this, micro movement throughout the day, this is allowing better circulation through your whole spine, through your hips, and down into your legs and feet. When you have that kind of circulation, your neck and head feel better, because now you're grounded and connected to the floor. You got it? You got your feet, feeling your feet on the floor there? So that's carrying some of the weight, not just your backside. Is that clear? If you need more help with that later, I'd be glad to demonstrate down in the lobby, with the chairs, because it's really, really important. Yes? It won't feel comfortable right at first because you're so used to leaning back onto something. But as you become more conscious and more holistic, you become more in your spine. And in about 2 weeks, if you practice, your spine will start to fire new firings, and the nerves will start to wake up, and it'll start to feel better. And maybe chronic pain that you've had will go away. You know, it's pretty much a yogi thing and a yoga technique, but it's just powerful to start to wake up, if we're going to work with your feet, to get the nerves circulating to them. Yes?
Is there a particular type of chair you should be sitting in?
You don't even need a chair. You don't need a back. You don't even need a chair with a back at all. We use stools in our offices and our work, because the stool allows us to stay more in our center out here instead of sitting on our backside on the very bundles of nerves and meninges that actually circulate to the feet and fire. And again, if you're sitting on your backside, you're also then jamming your spine, which causes neck problems and headaches. So it works on both ends, which you'll see when we do the standing work. But you also saw the sea of heads move. That's what you want. You want more movement. There's a product that, I'm not into products too much, but this is one that I want to just point out that you can also buy from us if you see us later in the downstairs or order it at our school. It's called a Sit Fit, and it's a rubber pillow. I used one for 2.5 years, and it really helped me learn to be fluid in my spine, because I had a crooked spine and scoliosis and lordosis and all the things wrong. And my feet, remember, they were bad. So when I started opening up my backside and my spine, my feet got better as well. So this is called a Sit Fit. I used it for about 2.5 years, and then I'm now more fluid than the pillow. But it's an air pillow. They're so awesome. They never wear out. I mean, I gave mine away after 2.5 years because I didn't need it anymore. And I'm now more fluid than the pillow was. So it's good training wheels for if you want to learn how to be, if you've had any kind of back, neck or leg problems. Okay? So you can see, it looks like, they call it an ergo sit. Yeah, I'll pass it around. You can try it out. You can put the square side forward or the round side forward depending on your balance. Okay, so we call this sitting knowledge. We call, whoa. Yeah, you have to put your feet on the floor if you're going to use it. It really helps you. But you got to get your feet on the floor, right? Got it. Okay, so this was what we call the fluid body model, learning to be fluid while you sit. Now we're going to do it standing. So I'm going to stand on the chair so you can see me. So everybody please stand up. And again, I broke the head off of my femur, my left femur, just 8 months ago. And look at me, I can climb up and down and stand again, and I did it all natural. So this really works, this work that we're doing. Okay, so in the fluid body model, when you're standing up, you want to do a couple things. First, you want to have your feet be straight forward. So look down and make sure they're not pointing off to the street or over to the kitchen, but that your feet are literally straight forward. People sometimes have their feet turned off to the side. How many can relate? Or one turned off more than the other? Well, where's your energy going? Everywhere else but forward. And you wonder why life isn't turning out quite like you say, yeah? So you want your feet to be straight forward, and then you want your toes to be straight forward. So see if you can get your toes lined up straight forward. And then even more important, depending on the size of your body, you want your feet to be about hip width apart, so that your feet hang down literally right under your hip sockets. Now, some good girls, and some of these older women in the audience, we were taught to be good girls and have our feet together. Well, if your feet are together, what's happening to your upper body? It's having to stress, because there's nothing to stabilize over the top. So if you have your feet hip width apart, it really supports your neck and your head to float better over the top of your base. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, here's the next thing. So let's review that, though. So where are the feet? Straight forward. And toes? Straight forward. And how far apart? About hip width. Yeah, about hip width. Find the one for you. And if you're really in an area of life where things are transitioning or there's change, you might even want to go a little wider. Give yourself even a bigger base. It doesn't hurt. Or if you're going to be on one of those phone calls, a little difficult, that's right. Put those feet even further apart. Okay, next thing is that you open your toes. And you might have to really stretch that little toe to get it out there. Look down, tell the truth. Is your little toe dead meat? Has it just been hanging on for dear life? Okay, well, some people, look at them. I mean, look at these little toes. They're like, the little toe and the second little toe are two of the largest meridian structures in your body, where the gallbladder meridian and the bladder meridian actually ground and start or end. So it's really important that you have those two little toes out there on your ends of your feet. Oh, my fingers. That those are actually waking up and being conscious. Okay, so you want to stretch them open. You use the floor and stretch them open. And if you're doing that fully, you might notice that your fingers do this. How many of you notice that your fingers? Well, so we're just retarded. I mean, it's almost like Because your brain has not been functioning fully on all four of those arenas. If your fingers moved when you did that with your toes, your brain hasn't differentiated your toes and your fingers separate yet. So as you do this work, all of a sudden you'll have much more dexterity in your hands as well. It's awesome. And your brain will get sharper and more keen. Isn't that cool? Okay. So toes wide and stretched apart. And then if you're one of those people that has the flat feet, quote unquote, the pronated arches, you want to roll your arches up a little bit. If you look down, you want to just roll your arch up a little bit so your toes still stay on the floor, but your arch rolls up a little bit to the outside. So go right to where your leg bones come in. In fact, I have a leg bone here I can show you. So take your eye focus right here, and instead of being really leaning over inside, which is pronation, it's like a caving in. We usually do it when we say things, self-talk, like, I can't do this, I'm not good enough. What do? We cave our energy in. Yep. You're welcome. Thanks for asking. So you want to just roll this part right here a little bit up and toward the outside. So look down and see. You don't want to like go all the way up. You still want to keep your toes flat on the floor, but you want to create a little bit of an arch. Good, Suanne, you got it. And open that little toe. So at the same time, you see why, if you don't have flat feet, you might not understand, but people that have flat feet have been rolling in this way, and they haven't been using the little side at all, so it's become dead meat. It's just this thing out there hanging out. How many know? Raise your hand. Be proud. Straight elbow. Yeah, if you've got that little toe hanging out there, that's really needs to be awakened if you want to be whole. Particularly if you're going to be eating beautiful, raw, vibrant food, this will help get you more in your body and awakened. All right? So if that's not clear, see me afterwards, but you just want to roll that arch up just a little bit so that it moves toward the outside and you create an arch in your foot. It takes about 2 to 3 weeks to restore a nice arch. Really, it's just been a habit. Now, I'm not saying that it's right to have an arch or wrong to not have one. Please, we're not about fixing you. It's a living process. The excitement is when you start to discover, oh, if you look down and see your arch is collapsed, start to notice what your self-talk was. Oh, I just told myself I couldn't do that. Well, I can do that. Take a breath, roll your arches up, open your toes, and then you have a new power back. You're grounded again. But we go into those negative self-assessments and we take ourselves out of our body, don't we? It's hot in here. It's really hot up here. Okay, all right, you with me? So you're going to do what? You're going to open your toes and do what then? Roll your arches up a little bit, just so that you have a little bit of arch. And then the most important thing then is soften your knees. So there's 3 steps to it. Soften the knees. So what's the first one? Open the toes. Second one? Roll your arches up a little bit. And if you've been really flat-footed, just roll them a little bit. Don't try to do the whole thing, at once. It's going to take a little bit. And the third thing was soften the knees. Why do you soften the knees? Because you don't want those knees locked. When your knees are locked, it jams up your lower lumbar back. It makes your neck tight, and your brain starts to switch off. So softening the knees, okay? So back from the very beginning, you're going to have your feet straight forward, right? Hip width apart, toes opening, roll up the arches a little bit to the outside, and soften the knees. Excellent, thank you. Now just let yourself be in that fluid place. The most important thing in the fluid body model, just like it was in the sitting position, is your hip sockets. We don't have a hip here, but I'll show you. Pretend like this is a femur bone, which is your thigh bone, and this is my left hip. Guess what? It's a ball and socket joint. You get it? So a ball and socket, by virtue that it's a ball and socket, should what? Rotate. Float, rotate, yes. But most of us have been like standing on it like it was a thing, right? And jamming it up, sitting on it like it was a thing and jamming it up. So let those 2 hip sockets be free and rotating in there so that your legs do what now? They hang. Yes, they can just hang. And what does your upper body do? It floats or hovers over the top. So that by virtue of just tuning into your hip sockets while you're sitting or standing, you get some freedom in both sides of the picture there, right? Your lower body and your upper body. Cool? Does everybody notice that? So we call this the fluid body model. What's it called? Fluid body model. Okay, you have fluid what? Body. Yes, you have fluid bodies. Okay, so go ahead and take your seats now. And everybody can see the chart up here? Yes. Okay, good. We're going to start by everybody take one of your feet in your hands as best you can. Bring it up and, bring it up onto your lap. And you want to start rotating the ankle. You want to rotate the ankle. I don't know if I want to do this on a chair, but like that, okay? So you want to rotate the ankle like that and just keep doing it. You want to typically, when you warm up a foot, do it about 60 times each direction. So I'll let you work on your own counting. 60 times each direction, okay? Yes?
Do you want to use your own muscles to rotate it as well as your hands?
Great question. She's asking, should she use her own muscles? I'd like to kind of see what's there at first, just by rotating the foot as far in every direction as it'll go. Just gently with your own hands, yes? Take your hands and rotate the foot in every direction as far as it'll go, and you'll start to feel where the kinks are. You'll hear pops and cracks. You'll feel where the limitations are. Okay? And then you can start going further and even pull with your own muscle and push and pull it even further. So, but first just kind of explore. In body work, you want to first find out what's really there and not try to fix anything, and then explore and, oh, well, there's a place that's kind of out of balance, or there's a place that's got a kink. Okay, so you're doing exploratory work at the same time you're warming up the ankle, because one of the first things you're going to do is you're going to really stretch open what's called the talus area here. This little talus bone is the bone here that where the tibia and fibula come down, and we're going to free up that bone because on many people it's never been aligned. It's never been aligned, and if this is malaligned, it causes a lot of congestion in the rest of the foot. It causes metatarsals not to be aligned and that kind of thing. It's one of the major places of congestion for people. Okay, so by just warming up, you're actually starting to uncongest your ankle area. All right? So you got that? So you're going to work on that first. So 60 rotations in both directions. Got it? Okay. If you only have time for 10, it's fine. But tonight, just so you get the basic routine is 60. The way Harvey and I invented it back in the 80s was 60. All right? But, if you only have time for a couple. But the warm-up can be part of absolutely making the biggest difference, because at the same time, you might notice that it starts popping and cracking. Now, this work I'm going to teach you is not about the pops and cracks, because what we're really going to work on, and why foot freedom, is we're going to be working on the tendons and ligaments. Why we work on the tendons and ligaments is because they're the guys that have been doing all the work. They're the ones that have been holding all the shock and trauma. They're the ones that have, when you've jumped off curbs or fallen off bikes and all this stuff in your whole life, they're the ones that have been holding the tension. So we're not so much about aligning bones or doing foot adjustments. But you will get that as a result. We're about softening the joint. Softening the tendons and ligaments that have been holding the tension. They've been bearing the weight. Okay? You with me? Got them warmed up? So we'll just do the one, and then we'll go to the other one later. Okay, next you're going to grab a hold of your big toe area here. Not the end of the big toe, but this what's called the first metatarsal. See if you can grab a hold of your first metatarsal and just start to rotate it a little bit down. So you might have to grab like this, or like with your hand like this, and just start to rotate more into the metatarsal. Yeah, you can hold the big toe. If you only have time for the big toe, usually, if you're putting on your shoes, you might just do the big toe. But if you can grab that metatarsal and really get that first metatarsal, that's this bone right, this guy here.
Is it kind of between where the fatty part is, or is it where the coconut is?
It's right. It's not the toe. That's called the halix. It's this bone right here. It's the long bone before the toe. So back in your foot. Yeah. See if you can grab a hold of that whole thing, either both ends of it. See how it's got an end here and an end here? See if you can grab onto both ends of it and just rotate it. So you're doing the top. Go on down further. Down further. And put your fingers right along it. So you're kind of grabbing like that. Way down even further. Yeah, she's got it. You should be able to grab right onto that bone, and sometimes it's easier for someone else to do that on you.
What if you have a really big bunion?
If you have bunions, that's because you've been pronating. So this is one of the things that heals bunions, because you've been pronating over like this. So just the standing work we did and the sitting work will help. Opening that little toe will help, okay, and rotating your arch will help. And if you have a bunion, then you want to start really massaging it with your thumb and massaging circulation into that whole area. Usually bunions happen right here between the halix and the first metatarsal. So you want to start getting circulation into that area. Whatever you can do. Bunion surgeries are not necessary because they will just come back if you don't handle the whole structure. Okay? They really are a standing problem. They really start up here, what you say to yourself. You say something about how you're not good enough and your body collapses in, then you start getting a bunion. Bunions start in the head. Yes, bunions will go away in about 2 or 3 weeks if you work on your feet every day like I'm showing you. It's amazing. Okay? And it doesn't cost anything and it doesn't come back.
What about the severe ones when the
Yes. She's talking about a severe bunion where the hallux, the big toe, is actually bent at a right angle. It's not uncommon in elderly people that have had, you know, a bunion problem or a self-esteem problem or a self-critical talk their whole life. So their big toe turns clear over. I have taped them over. I've worked on them, and sometimes I can get them pretty much straight. Not as perfect, but I've worked on people to help them and trained their partners to help them get their toes back. So you can get it back, but you have to tape them in the night, because it's literally the whole joint's gotten to a right angle. Yeah, it's pretty severe, but better than surgery is better. They work on it or have somebody work on it themselves, or, you know, work on them. Yeah. Yes?
Have you also been able to cure hammer toes?
Absolutely. Hammer toes are just where, hammer toes are not just a toe problem. It's where the toes kind of go like this and bend up. So what's really at fault is the tendons and ligaments up and through here that start at the knee. So you massage behind the knee and down the back in the calf and the Achilles tendon, and that starts to relax because all these muscles that start up here, down in here, you can see the little origins and insertions where they land. That's what's been pulling those toes up. Okay? And a lot of the muscles in the calf have to do with digestion and elimination. So if you're congested in your colon, your right leg is probably going to be tighter. If you're in your ascending colon, your right leg is going to be tighter, and that's going to maybe more hammer toes. So if you have a hammer toe on your right side or a propensity toward that, work on your colon up here on the right side. If it's your left side, it's the left colon. And the two bends in the colon at the two bends on either side, that's usually around the knees. So working behind your knees, which some massage therapists say, oh, don't work behind the knee, usually it could hurt people. Oh, no, work behind your knees. Dig in there. If it's hard back there, it should be soft. If it's hard back there, that's usually what pulls the toes up tighter. Okay, it'll relax all your foot bones.
What if there's a Baker's cyst behind the knee?
Cyst behind the knee. I don't know about that. We'll have to. Cysts are typically your body's intelligence where your lymphatic system couldn't process something, so it sends it to the surface. So they can usually be broken down, or there can be stuff done to them. Yeah. Yes.
Doing that number 8, is that where we are on?
We're right. I can't see the numbers myself from here, but whatever that bone is, right there. Okay. Okay, and then again, you pretty much want to always, if all you have time for before you put your shoes on is to work on that first metatarsal, warm up your ankle always. Always, always, always do what? Warm up your ankle. Then if you have time, do your metatarsal 1 and your metatarsal 5. That's these guys here. So then go over to your little toe side. And why you would do those first? Because they're just easier. And you can do them fast. Because this is, you know, you get your hand right on this one, you get your hand right on this one. Now, 2, 3, and 4 are a little tougher because they're inside. These, I would recommend you do after a foot bath or have somebody else do them. Okay? But you can take your thumb, and after you finish your little toe, take your thumb and rub really deeply in between here. And that's really helpful. What's that? Same thing. You kind of grab onto it like that. You just grab onto it, or you can take both thumbs like this, yep, or your fingers, however you can get your hands around there. It's kind of different on both sides depending if you're left-handed or right-handed. But you want to start getting some movement in that whole arch area. Okay? This will change all your arches. It'll start to build your arches and build strength. Typically, this also reflexes in reflexology with your chest. So when you're working on these areas between the metatarsals, that'll open up your chest and help you lift your chest better and keep more firmness up in here. All right, so you're working on your whole body at the same time. All right, so we've done big toe, and now we're working on metatarsal. We haven't got to the toes yet, but we've worked on metatarsal 1 and 5. Got it? Okay, then you come back up here. Let's just do a little bit between here. And then you can grab your toes, too, and rotate them like this. That's really helpful to get these, the cuboid and the cuneiforms. This is called a cuboid, this one here. And these are the cuneiforms. They build that beautiful arch across there. They're like a little arch. And for a lot of people, they've been collapsed. So the more that you stretch your toes outward, stretch them inward, stretch them down. Yeah, nice. She's got them going.
Well, I always said in my next slide,
You don't have to wait. Say 2 weeks, I want to have beautiful feet. Okay? All right, so then let's just get up here in the more painful part. Get your thumbs in underneath there. The kidney meridian starts right here around underneath that arch, right under the cuneiform. So get your thumb in there and really work on your kidney meridian. You'll find a tender spot right in the middle of the foot. It's usually underneath about right there. Yep, right. It's right there, right in the middle. Somewhere you'll find a tender spot. Usually that's where the kidney meridian starts.
It's in the middle. I thought it was just below the ball.
It's below the ball, but it's usually a little lower than a little bit lower, You'll find it wherever the tender spot is. It usually is the kidney meridian. It's an amazing one to teach women that are going to have babies because this meridian is the one that manages the whole natural communication of the baby and the mom and releases oxytocin to allow birth to happen. If it's switched off or not turned on, connected up on that, the whole kidney meridian goes up the inside of the leg. If it's switched off, then women have a hard time giving birth, and they need artificial Pitocin to give birth, and that's what's going on a lot of the births in hospitals. It's very common now. But they need to start early on to get it switched on and not wait till the last week before they're going to have their baby, because if they get too much footwork, they're going to have that baby maybe before they're ready. You can work on your feet if you want to have your baby right away. Footwork helps have babies come fast. Okay? If you're having a difficult birth, work on the feet, especially on the inside here. This would really help. This whole inside of the kidney meridian is what helps babies get born, because it helps the oxytocin start to switch on in the mother's hormones. Okay? Yes? Okay. Yep. Thank you. I know about the camera, but... Yeah, it starts there. Yeah, a little more right in the middle, right? Right where it hurts. Right where it'll hurt. If you push your thumb in deep, it'll hurt. And if it hurts, what does it mean? It means congestion. If it hurts, it means rub. Okay, wherever you find pain in your body means rub. But if it hurts, rub lighter. Okay, you don't have to do it as hard as I did. I just did that to show her. Okay? All right. Okay. All right, so let's go to the other foot. You're going to find better circulation in your ankles. Now you're going to do the rotations. How many? 60. Huh?
You can feel the difference between my 2 feet.
Good. Yeah, put them on the floor and feel the difference. Let your foot feel the floor just like your hand feels velvet. Your feet will be more conscious, and they'll start to feel things like your hands can feel things. It's awesome. Okay, so the other side, rotate 60 times each direction, and while you do that, I'll talk more about congestion. So congestion in the body will show up as tenderness or soreness on the body. That means you need body work. You need to touch yourself more. Get somebody else, get somebody to touch it. One of the ways that my partner and I relate on a regular basis is that we have foot baths. I went to Walmart and I got 2 foot tubs, and we put flowers in them, and we put aromatherapies or teas or salt or soda. And on the website, there's a place that talks about the different ways you can use foot baths. But you can sit there for half an hour, keep a kettle of hot water handy to replenish it, and you can have all your intimate conversations and talk about stuff you might not get to if you didn't take the time. And then you have these beautiful soft feet afterwards. You can start rubbing on each other's feet, and who knows where it goes from there if you wanted to, It's very romantic, a nice wedding present for couples, give them a couple of foot baths and some brushes. Huh? Oh, am I blocking my... Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so foot baths. You can read. Well, shoes are interesting. I love shoes, but I buy nice wide ones so my feet can be pretty wide and spread out inside, because I want those little toes to be able to open up even when I've got shoes on. So most of the year you see me in sandals, but I love my warm, Uggs and things like that. Just get big enough ones that your feet feel comfortable.
Negative heel shoe, like Birkenstocks or Earth shoe kind of.
Well, Birkenstocks, I counsel against them, because your feet, they take the form of your feet, and then your feet change. If you're doing this kind of work, your feet are changing dramatically. Within a couple, 3 days, you're not going to probably want that shoe. You're going to want a different shoe. So I'm sorry to say that, because I used to buy Birkenstocks, and they got expensive, but I had to get rid of them, and I don't wear them anymore. Say it again?
Does this work help with more aroma?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, the neuromas need circulation. They need flow through them. If you have a neuroma, it probably means the circulation's not getting all the way through. Again, think in terms of it's not something wrong with my ankle, but this area, not ankle like a thing, but this area needs circulation through it. So go on to your big toe area. Well, you know, we didn't do the toes either. I forgot to have you rotate the toes. So you want to really rotate and twist all your toes on both feet. We didn't do it on the first foot. But in each toe, when we get to them, you want to rotate the toes, twist them, and turn them, and press into them.
Is that better to do before you do the tendons kind of area?
No, do the tendons first. Always go upstream, and then the toes last. Okay? If you only have time for the toes, just do the toes. But if you have time for the arch first, then to the toes, rotate the toes, and look at all the little joints here. Look at all those beautiful joints up there you can rotate. Now, a lot of people grab toes, and they just pull on them straight. What you're going to find is that probably if you're going to get a pop or you really want a tendon or ligament to let go, just pulling on it straight isn't going to do it. You need to actually kind of compress it in, rotate a little bit, and twist it. And circulate. So more compression brings blood and circulation into the joint that's been, if the joint's been literally, you know, dehydrated from lack of circulation or lack of water and, you know, nutrition, you want to compress it and then pull it, compress it and then pull it, and compress it and then pull it so you get the blood into the joint. That'll let the tendon and ligament that attaches in that joint to free up. You understand? It's not about the joint popping. It's about the tendon and ligament elongating so that the bone can then roll into its place. If you do this enough and correctly, the bones will just pop by themselves. You won't need to go getting a pop. A pop is just energy. And sometimes you might be holding it into a compression and it starts to vibrate. That's even better than a pop because that means a lot of energy is moving at a finer micro level than the big pop. Yes?
What if something, I have problems with something underneath my feet? What's the best thing to do for underneath?
Well, get your fingers, when you're working on top, also have your other fingers going underneath. So kind of sandwich it. So yeah, sorry, that wasn't clear. When I work on top up here, I'm also working underneath. Okay, and sometimes when another person's working, it's easier for them to get both sides than it is for you when you're doing it like this. Yeah.
What about very good for arthritis?
Arthritis, excellent for arthritis. Yeah, itis means congestion, ultimately. So if you have congestion, you're going to have tenderness and poor circulation. Remember, it's a flow problem. You want to get energy out to here. Some of you, I've taught people that you don't even want to, you want to pretend like your toes end out about 4 or 5 inches further than your toes, so the circulation, the energy can flow out and back again. So if you have one of those kind of toes that's all jammed up, then imagine that it elongates clear out to here and starts to straighten out. So you have to visualize it with your eyes. I had a client this morning, I had to show her, yeah, you need to look way out here, not just here. She needed the energy to go way out in order for it to really straighten out. Yes?
I got those things called yoga toes to help
Yes?
spread the toes.
Excellent.
And when I, because the outer toes also jam out.
Sorry, she's saying she's got yoga toes, and I said excellent. Those are those little socks and shoes and
They help spread the toes.
toe spreaders. Yep.
But sometimes when I go to put them on, the foot cramps. Do you have any
Yes.
questions about that?
Yes, she's saying that when she puts on her toe spreaders, that sometimes her foot cramps. That's because your body's not used to all that flow, that energy. So that's good to visualize the energy out a little further and back again. And also don't leave them on as long. Warm up your foot first. That would help. If I leave my toe separators on for about 2 hours, I notice that's about all I can take. It's like a lot of energy. Thank you very much. I can't do any more. And I need to take them off.
Take 10 minutes.
Yeah, so well then maybe soak your feet first or work on them more often. Yeah.
How about all these people that are wearing these vibrant downstairs, vibrant type of shoe that you see?
Excellent. Anything that separates your toes is excellent. Yep, yep. Yes. Shh, shh, shh. Please, I can't hear.
What do you recommend for plantar fasciitis?
For plantar fasciitis, so plantar is the backside, and the itis, anytime there's an itis, it means congestion. So it's a flow problem. It needs to be touched more often. The inflammation needs to be nurtured and allowed to flow. It's your lymphatic system doing the best it can. So you need to help break it apart and help circulate it more out to the toes. Moving the ankle will help, and then touching it more often. Foot baths is excellent for it. Okay? That was about plantar fasciitis. Okay, you guys, I have to end in a couple minutes, so if you can bring all your questions downstairs, that would be helpful.
Do you have
I just,
DVD?
We have a DVD. The clipboard is going around. If you'd like to get it, it's a 2-hour training on how to do this for yourself or for others. We also have, and that the DVD will be ready in a few weeks. So if you want to pay for it this weekend, we're charging $30, or for people online, you can, if you say that you heard about it here, you can have it for $30. It's normally $29.95 plus tax and shipping. I'll cover tax and shipping if you pay for it today. Also on the clipboard, if you want to get this little protocol we did today, the Foot Freedom Protocol, in the email, I can send it to you if you put down your information. And also we have full trainings. Please, please, please. The clipboard is where? Who's got the clipboard? Let us see. Keep passing it around. Not everybody's got it. Okay, and we'll have it downstairs. The website is worldschoolmassage.com. worldschoolmassage.com. The telephone number of one of the schools is 925-461-2533. I'll repeat those. It's worldschoolmassage.com. There's brochures and handouts in the back that have all the numbers on them and the website. worldschoolmassage.com. WORLD, worldschoolmassage.com. And the telephone number, telephone number is 925-461-2533. I'll be downstairs just outside the cafe after the talk. So if you want to catch the clipboard. We have a full, listen please, we have a full training. It's about 30 hours of training in this work if you want to be a practitioner of it. And then if you want to be a teacher of the work, we have a teacher training as well to learn how to teach this work. So you can inquire at the school about those trainings as well. They're throughout the year. The next training in San Francisco is in October. It's about 30 hours. It's about over 3 weeks. It's about 10 hours a week for 3 weeks in San Francisco. That one I believe is in October. I have the dates downstairs. If you want a training in your area, if you're someone who wants a training in your area, if we have 10 people or more for the 30-hour training, we'll put it together, a full training. It costs about $600 per person, something like that. Okay? So 10 or more people will do it in your area. Your address in San Francisco? San Francisco, we're out in the avenues, 401 32nd Avenue, and in Pleasanton, it's 699 Peters Avenue. See us downstairs. See us downstairs. Okay? Yes, yes. Okay, so please, I didn't get to finish all the protocol, but it'll be in your handout that I email you, okay? But make sure you do the toes, compressions, and stretches, and lots of rotations. And remember, it's a what kind of a problem? It's a flow problem. It's all about flow, getting the connection in, and then the bones will start to jump in place if the tendons and ligaments are relaxed. So you're going to have more fluid what? Fluid bodies, fluid motion. And your feet feel what? Happy. I have happy feet. Yes. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you so much.